Audioburst. My guest today is Lindsay Stevenson. She's a CPA CGMA, and I'm Jennifer Gardner, your host. And we're going to be talking about a really interesting topic today. We're going to be talking about fear. So, Lindsay, what does fear have to do with professional development?
Yes, it's an interesting question, right? Because as CPAs and accountants and people that are working in the finance industry, I think a lot of time, we're so focused on the numbers, the outcome, the results, that tends to be what we really think is important, that we never really think about what keeps us from getting to the next level, the next important thing, the next step in our evolution of professionalism and personal development. And a lot of that really is seated in fear. And so we don't think of it, right? We try to be analytical in everything that we do, right? So when we're making decisions, when we choose not to do something, we generally are explaining to ourselves that there's all these really important reasons why we shouldn't do it, right? Or why we did it a way, that may not have made sense to someone else. And what happens is that really underneath all that, underneath all those analytics and all those efforts that we make to describe every little reason for what happens or the choice that we make, there's this deep feeling inside that we're so unsure that we don't want to do it, right? And that's really fear. And I think in the CPA profession, the accounting profession, in probably even more so, because there's so much pressure on us to have the answer, to do the right thing, to be right, that we never want to do anything that's uncertain. And so fear really is uncertainty, right? You're afraid of the unknown. You really aren't sure if you can do it. We see this a lot in the profession, particularly with women, young women, as they develop. They wait until they're perfect at something before they take the next leap to get into the next level. And so it's that fear of not knowing what you're doing or not being able to do it all the way. And so that's sort of what it has to do with our professional development, is that really fear holds us back from the potential of what we really can do and accomplish, even as a profession-wide group of people. What we can do for our clients, what we can do for the economy, what we can do for the world is all sort of couched in this loss of potential because we're so afraid.
Are there particular things that accountants tend to be afraid of more than others? We mentioned, you mentioned the need to have the right answer, right? To be perfect, to have that right answer, to be analytical. So how does that play out? What kinds of things tend to be a little bit scarier for accountants to do as they progress in their careers, or what have you witnessed around that?
Sure. Well, I can speak, from personal experience. Definitely the fear of not being right is scary, especially in your early development, right? So when you're staff level, you're just out of college. You have book smarts, and so you understand accounting from a book sort of viewpoint. But as you develop, you recognize the need to be able to apply things that you learn from the book to real life situations that don't follow the book exactly. And then you're scared, you're afraid, right? Because it doesn't follow the book. So what you know doesn't necessarily equate to what you see. And then you start freaking out. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to apply this. And so I think early in our careers, that's a lot of it, that being right. I think as we move forward in our careers, as we grow as adults, honestly, having feelings about things and really like understanding ourselves, for me, became the biggest kind of space of fear. I was afraid to acknowledge that maybe what I was doing professionally wasn't really a passion for me. I happened to be good at it and it was okay, and I could get through my work, but there was this element missing of the passion, right? The drive to really accomplish something and make a difference. And I ignored it for a really long time because I was so scared that wasn't what an accountant was supposed to be. And I think what's really cool in the profession that you'll see now, like a trend that we've kind of witnessed, is that CPAs, accountants, the profession are starting to say, what else can we do? How else can we do this? What's a new way to explore this? And how do you feel about it? And I feel like that conversation really hadn't been happening earlier in my career. And so I think that fear of doing something outside compliance. And I think, we talk about it Barry has done his Go Beyond Disruption session across the country and in multiple conferences. And what he talks about is saying we have to be different than what we've done for 100 years as CPAs and accountants. And we aren't necessarily sure we have the answer of what that different looks like, but the world is changing and we have to be okay with changing with it.